Hi, welcome back, or maybe you're welcoming me back. It's been a while. I didn't really check, but it was around the time when Black Lives Matter came to the fore, and it was part of a kind of daily discourse on Twitter. And I decided at that time, because it was so important, and it is so important of a discourse, that I felt that I really couldn't contribute. And I thought to myself, this is a good opportunity for me to take a step back, to reflect on my voice. What do I have to say? Why are you watching me? Does my opinion even matter? And with so many voices at this time particularly, and this is recorded on the night after the debate, which I didn't watch. I am a Canadian, so I don't really need to. But this kind of relentless drone of opinions that are being brought to every forum under the sun. I just felt that I couldn't contribute anymore. Possibly it was COVID-19 and just a kind of emotional response that I had toward it and everything that was going on. And also, it was around the time that I started getting back to work. It was, my priorities changed and my focus changed. So the reason why I'm recording today is because somebody, and I will take a look just to make sure. There's been a few people, Soul Claimer 65 commented, and Pretty Guardian commented, and this is within the past week. And when I woke up this morning, I saw that Billy Mitchell just subscribed. So this one's for you, whoever you are. I see clown faces, and that just scares the shit out of me, but whatever. I guess the time that I've spent reflecting, 4 months, 5 months, has been kind of a soul searching of my relationship with role-playing games, a love that I've had since I was 15, even younger. And so I was 15 in 1980. And so, yeah, I would have been much younger because I got chainmail in around 77, 78. Plattsburgh, New York, not even in Canada, in Plattsburgh at the mall, at a little bookshop just one level above a great gaming shop, and captured my imagination. And everything role-playing ever since has been kind of at times a secret love, and definitely a love that has been has come back. But I've had every edition of D&D. I'm not a D&D purist. And I guess over the course of the summer, I've discovered that I'm not really a role-playing game purist at all. I love so many different role-playing games that I can't focus. And I guess that's why the title of this is, Role-Playing Love, Too Much of a Good Thing. For a few years, I've been watching almost every day role-playing games on streams, and watching so many different contributors. And I've made some good friendships as well. But I've really taken a back seat over the course of the summer, focusing on watching cooking shows. Something that you absolutely don't know about me is I love to cook, and I'm actually a pretty good home cook. And I try a whole bunch of different things. So we might be eating Sardinian food one day, and the next day eating Thai, and the next day eating Indian, and the next day eating Spanish, and etc., all from scratch. And it's certainly a love. It's something that I enjoy, And it's helped me to kind of look at how I spend my time. Now, does this mean that role-playing game has taken a back seat? In a way, yes, and in a way, no. I found that I've purchased many, many more PDFs now that I'm not watching streams religiously, as it were. So, I look at that and I think to myself, what is it that I'm looking for in a role-playing game? Why do I have so many? So I talked about chainmail. I talked about this kind of evolution of getting to D&D, having all the copies and stuff like that. But I was also really interested in Pendragon. I got Pendragon when it first came out. And GURPS. I was enamored by this system that could involve everybody. I had The Prisoner, the TV show, as and I don't know why I sold it, but anyway, I had that module, and so many others. Just so much to love in the 80s. And I guess I've taken that to the extreme. If you look behind me, you see all these board games, and a lot of these board games have been played once, maybe twice, but that's about it. I'm a collector. I remember when I signed up to Board Game Geek, back when it first started, I guess 2002, 2003, one of the taglines that I marked down was, "I'm not a collector." And I've become a collector. And I've done the same with PDFs now. I don't have an extensive collection of role-playing games, as you can see right there, and it extends out somewhere else. But, I've sold off so many books, just kind of getting rid of them in order to save space and not have a ton of stuff. But I have over 350 board games. Why don't I have that same investment in physical copies of the board games? I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. But just to say to you, why do you perhaps have so many role-playing games? And what are you doing about it? Are you actually playing? Or are you, like me, a collector, interested in systems, interested in the variety? At first, I thought D&D was the best. And second edition came out, and I was really, really excited about that. And then third edition came out, and I was kind of excited about that. And then 3.5 came out. And of course, I'm buying all of these books, right? And 3.5, I think that one pissed me off the most because I just didn't like the 0.5 part. And then fourth, and I bought tons of stuff for fourth and played with my kids. I didn't really play 3.5 with my kids. I don't think that they were old enough at the time, but in Pathfinder I just kind of ignored and never really, I think I've played it once or twice, but never bought the system, wasn't really interested in it. I just saw it as D&D, kind of D&D open license, whatever. It didn't excite me. And at that time I was moving away from Crunch and moving into kind of a more 5th edition type of mentality. And fourth just was, it was fun, but it was so much a video game, and you could see kind of where the game was going. And I think fifth has been wonderful for the hobby. Absolutely wonderful. Everybody is benefiting, from the king. And I started to realize, I guess, last year, maybe the year before, that I was more interested in narrative play. I haven't had a chance of going on Zoom or playing with anybody else. I pretty much stick to myself. My wife and I still intend on playing Mork Borg. And I bought, over the course of the summer, I bought Mork Borg. I don't know where it is. I think it's in the other room. But I did buy Vaesen. Look here, dice. And I think that book is in the other room as well. Yeah. Freely Games is freaking me out. they are so good and their production quality is so amazing that, you know, over the course of the summer, I've just come to the conclusion that Europeans and what other countries have to offer are just amazing. Now, I am looking at every possible system, and I'm going to share with you where my mind is at and where I might be going with the channel. There's so many pundits, so many people who are most excellent and absolutely just giving to the community with their efforts and their brain trust and smart reviews, clever reviews. Doug, and I forget what he's on. I know that he's on the Free League channel, but he has his own channel. You know what? I've got YouTube open here. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I can search it up, but let's see. Vaesen. Yeah, he's not popping up right away, but I think if you're interested in yeah, if you're interested in Free League games and you watch any of the videos, Doug comes on quite often. And I just victory condition games. That's what it is. And let me just gonna click this. Yeah, victory condition games. He's just doing a great job promoting. He obviously works for the company, but just brilliant stuff. I was so interested in what was going on with Nibiru, and just so excited about the possibilities of imaginative play that I started moving over to more to people like Garblag games, and what Pete and the rest of them have to offer. They're again an amazing channel, and again focusing on Alien and stuff that Modiphius is putting out. I think the direction of role-playing is moving away from crunch. Now, I know Zweihander has such a great following, and it should. There's a lot of effort put into it. I think it is verbose. You know, I'm sorry to say, but it's an opinion. But I think it's got a lot of meat. And obviously, you know, I went to Indigo, or Chapters, whatever you want to call it here in Canada, and there it was, right on the shelf. And I was pretty impressed that Daniel, you know, has really got this machine going, and certainly is promoting his product. And there's a market for it, obviously. For me, I'm moving away from that crunch. I love it. I just don't have the time for it. And, you know, I was looking at designing my own game and looking at different rules. And I think that might be where I'm leading to in the future, is looking at what is out there and what can I take from it and employ in something that is easy to play, smart, unique, and really, really quick to grasp and understand, and yet with infinite possibilities. Mork Borg is itching a scratch that I didn't really know that I had. I've never been metal, ever. But I really like it. I just love the darkness of it, but the simplicity. And the book, let's face it, the book sells it. The PDF is crap, okay? But the book is amazing. And to have that, and you know, every role player should buy this book. It's going to be hot in about 40 years, and people will be dying for it, because I think that it's the beginning of a new wave of really appreciating the art and really, truly appreciating the fact that, it's not just about PDFs and the cheapness of PDFs. It's about having something in your hand and valuing it, just like people used to value coffee table books. I was looking at Joe Mangliano's, I guess it was an Instagram feed, and I guess he was watching either a football game or he was watching something on TV, and I was looking at his living room. I saw these coffee table books precisely, laid in front of everything. And I looked at that and I thought to myself, that's how we should be looking at role-playing games, with pride and with an affection. Really, truly appreciating the art. There D&D, or early D&D and OSR games are trying to get back to that kind of really raw, etching vibe and, black and white drawing vibe. And D&D 5th has this very, uninspired art design. I don't like it. But I really like what Modiphius and Free League are doing with their art. And just to see Mork Borg, amazing. Now, something that I'm probably going to start soon, because it is on my iPad, I don't have the book yet, but I'm going to get the book, is 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. If it's a solo game, and you've seen before that I love Ironsworn and Delve, but this looks to be really, really wonderful and very imaginative. I wish I could find something that was kind of an in-between of Mork Borg, 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, a little bit of Old School Essentials. I love the design of Old School Essentials. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of art, but I love the fact that it's all on one page. You flip a page, you get another class. Brilliant kind of layout design there. And I think that intentionality, and also smaller books, I don't know if they're called A5 in England. I think that's the smaller size, or in Europe. But wow, like that small form factor that Ironsworn has and Mork Borg has, it's very compelling because it's not daunting. And over the course of the summer, I think so many things have become daunting. Whether it's discourse and opinions flying everywhere. And I mean, you're watching this in order to hear opinions or to hear what some guy thinks about role-playing, whatever. I appreciate it. I'm not in it for the business. I'm certainly not in it for the money. It would take too much effort to make money out of this. And I guess that some of you watching are probably like me, where you love the role-playing genre so much that you almost can't focus. And I guess over the next few months, I plan on focusing. Now, I've mentioned all of these European things. I think it's a Canadian company that's put out Big Eye Small Mouth, BESM. I think it's the 4th edition now. And that's anime, manga, and just really getting into that genre. And I wouldn't have expected to be so keen on it, but I really am. I've been watching some Netflix shows, Kane Go Kill, I think the anime's called, and I watched the entire series with my wife, and we absolutely loved it. And I just thought that would be a wonderful setting to, just be able to do anything. And I've been really interested in Roman history and Greek history and Conan. And so many things are floating through my mind that I need to just stop and play. And sometimes we need to just have a time of reflection in order to say to ourselves, why am I waiting to kind of delve back into playing? It's been over a year since I've played weekly, and I certainly miss it. Well, no, it was December, I guess, that I stopped playing. But I do miss it very, very much. But I want to play something that I want to play. I don't want to just get into a 5e game, and I don't just want to get into a Vaesen game or a Mork Borg game. I could, and maybe I will, but I want to really exercise my imagination. So here I have this desire to create my own game. You've probably thought of it as well. But it can be daunting. You can get caught up with the details and math. I'm not that good at math. So is it the crunch that I'm afraid of? Is it the investment in the history and reading up the history? I'm very precise, and I want to make sure that everything is great and well referenced. And that's probably my university background, is I've got to make sure that I've got backup for what I have to say. Maybe I just want to write. Maybe that's what's at the heart of most role players is, we're closet actors, closet writers, closet creators begging to delve deeper into our hobby, delve deeper into our souls. And that leads me to another point. As I reflect on this notion of too much of a good thing, have you noticed, is it me? Have you noticed that maybe games are getting darker? I noticed this with Avernus. That just, there's a darkness about what's coming out. It's all apocalyptic. It's all hell. It's all focused on the dark and the hopeless. I'm kind of concerned about that. Our games and our entertainment is usually a reflection of where we are psychologically as a whole. Yes, companies put this stuff out, and D&D is certainly putting out a lot of stuff, and you could say and argue that D&D and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro has become very, very vanilla, very politically correct, and it certainly has its place, and I'm glad that they're promoting, the need to address the discrepancies within a system, such as hiring people of color, hiring people of different backgrounds and different views, hiring people of different sexual orientations and definitions. Yeah, that's important, and I think that it shows itself in the game play. Everybody is a hero. Everybody is heroic. Everybody, of course, this is what we want in fantasy. But it seems like it's so kind of light. But Avernus really showed a darker side. And I know that, what was it, Mad Mary? Or I forget. But yeah, there was some humor in it, absolutely. But you look at Mork Borg and the popularity. Now, obviously, it's the design, but there's a darkness there. Siburum, also quite dark. Vaesen, another one. Now, maybe it's just because I'm moving towards horror genres, but does that strike you as something that resonates? That you've seen a more darker kind of turn within the hobby? Is there a light turn? Is there kind of hope in our system? Does anybody play good guys anymore? Good girls anymore? I don't know. And how do we define heroic? D&D, from what I perceive, and again, this is only my perception, is let's go after gods. Let's take on the gods. And I think Vaesen kind of shows us a different way where the so-called enemies, the fairies, the mystery is starting to go out of our imaginations. and yet at the same time they are most powerful and not able to be defeated, or the consequence is massive. That's an interesting take. You know, you can't defeat everything. Whereas D&D, it's like, you know, you probably handle some pretty big monsters alone. And gods. Just defeating whoever you want. I guess that's part of our individualism of the 20th, 21st century. And that focus on I can be anything. I can be God myself. And I mean, I've watched some of the role-playing streams before Adam Coble had his fumble, and sadly doesn't seem to be able or desire to come back. I think it was Court of Swords, and you could see that Ramus was turning into a godlike figure. And I would have loved to have heard that explored more. Because again, you know, where do we have to go with leveling? You know, and as I rant and ramble, think about it. You know, how many games do you actually play where you can level up? I saw recently on one of the Facebook pages that I follow regarding role-playing that there was a game that's been played for 26 consecutive years. That's rare. Love to be in a game that lasted that long. I don't know if I have 26 years left in me. I'll be 80 at that point. I mean, seriously, what do we want out of this love that we have with role-playing? What do we want to accomplish? What do we want to leave behind? That's my final point. What do we want to leave behind? I'm becoming more of a pessimist as I get older. And I think to myself, you know, we might lose power and the ability to, you know, to access information. We're so reliant on the internet. I don't have a thumb drive. Oh, I do have a thumb drive with me. You know, we have this little stick. This means nothing. It's a little skateboardy thing, but it means nothing. If I don't have power and I don't have the understanding of the technology, and I don't have the internet, this is useless. It's just plastic and metal, and yeah, it's got data in it, but if we ever come to a time where there is a nuclear war, and if, you know, who the hell knows, right? Books and stuff is going to be important. Look at what we see in the past and how we look at archaeological digs and stuff like that. It's art that's found. It's things that actually were created with intentionality and with love. And, you know, whether it's a grave being dug up or whether it's the foundation walls of a castle or community, it's stuff that we can, you know, hold, see, appreciate right there and then. I have a whole shelf of books in front of me. I have a whole shelf of games going all the way around. That's easily accessible stuff. PDFs aren't. Not in a dystopian society. I don't know what the next few months are going to bring. None of us do. And I would imagine that it's going to be pretty messy after November. Either way, it's going to be pretty messy. So this kind of negative view of the world may keep on rearing its head with role-playing. Maybe we should do something, and maybe we should have some more positive games within the community that look for joy and happiness. I just don't know if they're compelling. I looked up a Buddhist role-playing game, and I was intrigued. I didn't buy it, but I was intrigued. But then I thought to myself, how do you play a game like that? You know, no murder hobos there. Um, you know, it's just fascinating that we have something that is so wonderful, so amazing, and involves our imagination. I really, really do think that I'm moving away from PDFs to getting real books and physical things that will keep and will last. But I am being more discerning. I think the first thing I'm going to start doing, other than playing a thousand-year-old vampire, may be getting back into Ironsworn. Certainly, I'm going to play Mork Borg with my wife. I'll be DM. She'll be playing. She's already got a character that has 3 flying monkeys, and at least 2 items that she converses with. I think one is a skull and one is a sword. So that will be interesting for sure. All this is to say, yeah, I'm going to try to make it back. I'm going to try to do what I can do. I'm not going to ramble as much. I'd like to make the videos shorter. In a perfect world, 10 minutes. Probably more like 20. This has been a half an hour of rambling, pure rambling. But, you know, sometimes we need to ramble to get our thoughts together, right? So a whole bunch of stuff that I'm interested in. I downloaded something really recently. And I don't know if I'll see it on drive-through. But yeah, Vaesen. Vaesen has really captured my imagination. I watched the latest YouTube video last night. I think it was from Free League Games. My gosh, it's awesome. It is awesome. All right, so let me see if I can find this thing. It was Roman. Oh, I know what it was. I know what it is. Lex Arcana. Yeah, I bought Lex Arcana. And actually I bought Lex Arcana, which was $25 US. It's a lot of money Canadian. I think it's like 32, 33 bucks. And I also bought the Egyptus. So that was 20 American, so 27, something like that. So I bought both of them because I was really interested in the genre. But again, what I'm saying to you is I'm overloaded with stuff I want to play and I'm not playing because I'm swamped and I don't know which direction to go in. And maybe you've experienced it. Maybe I'm just OCD. Maybe I've got some type of issue. We all have issues. But, you know, that sensibility of wanting to narrow down what I really want to play. You know, what does YouTube sing? I still haven't found what I'm looking for. That's it. I know it's not D&D. I know it's not D&D. And I can't, I think maybe that's the next video. Why? Why don't I appreciate D&D as much? Now, I haven't bought the Ravenloft stuff that's coming out, Ravenloft, whatever it's called, Curse of Strahd. The new stuff that's coming out in November, I guess. I am buying the next publication, which looks like an additional rule set. And I have waiting for me, I think that it's come out already. The fact that I don't know this is quite telling. Icewind Dale? Whatever. But yeah, the European stuff coming out is absolutely amazing. I downloaded the Spanish game, which name escapes me, but just Google Spanish RPG. And this Lex Arcana, which is Italian. There's some really, really good things out there. And it's just trying to find the niche that you're happiest with. That's the other thing that I'm going to look at, and I know I said that was my last point, but figuring out how to make the time to play online. I really liked the format that was done last night that I watched. I guess it's a couple of days old. Free League had a weekend of uploading things. I was trying to see. Yeah, I don't see it readily. I'm sorry. I know that dead air and not chatting while looking at stuff is ugh, not the greatest. My wife will be coming downstairs in a second, so let's wrap this up. Yeah, it's the Vaesen actual play, Summer in December. And this Summer in December video, and I'll try to mute it. Yeah, Matthew, what an excellent DM. Oh my God, he's just fantastic. Neil, Millie, John, and Emily, they were fantastic last night and just brilliant. So I really enjoyed that. I'm actually, I've got another hour to go. So I'm going to wrap this up now and take care, and I'll do something sometime this week. Bye.